and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. We're coming to you live, of course, on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and all our platforms on social media, on PodHub, YouTube. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. It's a Wednesday evening, and yes, of course, as always, on the show every single day, we have individuals, great guests on the show, talking about current trending topics in Sri Lanka. And again, as always, another fantastic guest in the studio. Well, not many, of course, would know the fact that he's been involved with a fair amount of talent in Sri Lanka, in the sporting arena, in the music arena. We're going to get into all that in just a few minutes. So good evening, Ravi. Welcome to the show.
Yo, bro.
Yeah, so Ravi's going to be on the show today, as you can see, and we're going to have a really good time talking about lots of stuff and a few things that we want to basically also dive into, things that are actually making headlines in Sri Lanka in the last couple of days. As always on the show, excuse me, as always on the show, we start the show off with a poll, a daily poll, where everybody watching the show right now on Channel 1 Dialogue TV, and of course, everyone watching on our YouTube channels can be a part of it. And let's find out what the poll is for today. Here we go. Right, there you go, your daily poll for today on the show. It's going to be coming up on your screen right now. Do talent managers truly add value to the talent? As always, every poll we obviously have on the show is always related to either the guest or the subject that we're actually talking about on the show. And as you know, today we have a talent manager in the studio. Do talent managers truly add value to the talent? Yes or no? WhatsApp your answers to that number 077 669 1590, 077 669 1590. And at the end of the show, of course, just before the end of the show, we will reveal the answer, and maybe it might actually also surprise Ravi if the answer turns out to be something that he possibly doesn't think will be. Well, let's dive into the conversation, Ravi. Now, we're talking about talent management. You're a talent manager. You, of course, manage a fair amount of individuals out there in the sports arena. We'll get into the individual names while we go on the show, also in the music arena. What is talent management?
That's a good one, Shaq, because talent management was something which I don't think really happened in Sri Lanka in the very recent past in a very professional manner.
Right.
I must say there was one gentleman who came, I'm not going to mention any names, who came and actually turned the whole thing into a very professional thing.
Right.
And that induced, I believe, two of Sri Lanka's greatest sportsmen in the last 10 or 15 years. So kudos to all of them. Today, talent management is an absolute necessity.
Okay.
Because we've got this absolute extreme talent. We were talking before the show as well about the younger, the Z generation.
Yeah.
These dudes and girls need support going forward. For me, talent management is about harnessing talent. It's not about just doing a deal and making a buck. Harnessing a talent and actually looking after their future post-retirement.
Right.
So that's my deal.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, I would probably want to sign them up when they are growing.
Right.
Some of the guys and girls who are with me are 10, 15 years with me at the moment. You possibly can't manage too many.
Right.
Because then conflicts come in.
Right.
But overall, the role of a talent manager, Shaq, a lot of people get very confused of who a talent manager and who a talent agent is.
Right.
It's very different.
Right.
The manager's job is to look after basically the talent, his future, and his life going forward.
Right.
Naturally, the athletes will probably end up in their 30s, 35s, perhaps 37, 40 at the most. But the musicians can go on and on, like Sir Cliff Richard,
Right.
for example. So that's different. I do a range of them, just not athletes or musicians. I have models, I have bloggers, and a few of them. Again, not too many. Hence the tagline: management by profession.
Right.
Boutique by design.
Right.
So that's how it goes.
So Ravi, now obviously this was not necessarily your core business, was it? When you obviously stood, I mean, as a past Josephian, you were very active in school.
Yeah.
You were basically a sportsman in school, but then you didn't take this up. I mean, it's something that's recent, but this is a complete shift in your career.
Yeah, sport was always in the DNA. I come from a family, the De Silvas. I had two uncles of mine who captained Sri Lanka. My dad was a famous cricketer, rugby player. My aunts played played netball for Sri Lanka.
Right.
One of my aunts played cricket for Sri Lanka. So,
Right.
a lot of all that. Yeah, so probably talent, DNA in the family. My mom was this famous ballerina, tap dancer, da 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 da. But I never took into talent as such. Perhaps my brother Drew, he was the one who got into that and got on with his life. My sister is as well in whatever she does.
Whatever she does.
Yeah, whatever she does.
Spoken like a true brother there.
So yeah, that's how that goes. So at the age of 20, Shaq, nice story. I met whom I believe is a legend in Sri Lankan cricket, Mr. Michael Tissera,
right.
A guy who walks into this room now. I'll stand up and
right.
give my say. So he saw me while I played cricket for school, and then he wanted me to come over and play for the best club in the world, CCC. There was unfortunately this famous Sri Lankan tour. 25 years was given to a lot of the top players for going on this rebel tour. Included in that was a super wicketkeeper bat called Hemantha Devapriya. All of a sudden, I was wicket-keeping and playing first-class cricket at the age of 19 for CCC.
Right.
Mark Benson, we had some serious cricketers. Mark Benson, the umpire, he actually, Charit Setanayake, all top cricketers at that time. Actually, I used to bat number 7 or 8 after batting, opening for college and a little bit for under 19. Anyway, I honestly believe I retired playing competitive cricket at 22. Because I believe, A, there was no money in sport at that time.
Right.
And B, I was in aviation and travel and tourism. So, you're like 24/7. You probably work about 36/7
right.
in life. And I ended up in the UK, came back to Colombo, and I was again at the best club in the world having lunch when I met a dear friend of mine, Shammi Silva,
right.
who wanted me to come and get involved in CCC cricket.
Right.
So that was it. And I met a young bloke, an 18-year-old boy who had just lofted Brett Lee over the side screen at Perth.
Right.
His name is Chamara Kapugedra.
Right.
The first player I managed. And then I got into management. But while doing all that, I was big time in the corporate world.
Right.
Working for some of the best or biggest companies, and I learned a lot.
So now let's look at in terms of the talent that you do attract and talent that you manage. We're going to get into those individual names. Some very, very big names come under the umbrella of Ravi De Silva. How do you attract talent? Do you approach them or do they approach you? How does that work? What is your motto?
Good one. Yeah. So initially what I try to do is I like to know what they're doing. For example, if it's a singer, I like to know that I like the way he or she sings.
Right.
I can tell you a nice story about perhaps a famous Sri Lankan musician, a Western musician, Damien.
Right.
My classmate from the age of 17, brilliant musician, was never in school, but that is a super cricketer as well.
Right.
Almost good as all of us. So if I like Damien, I would want to listen to him.
Right.
And try to see whether I can help him, but I never ever wanted to go any further because we were too close friends.
Right.
Until he one day turned around and told me, if Mahendra Singh Dhoni's best friend can be his manager, why can't you be mine?
Right.
And then that's how I ended up looking after D-Zone.
Right.
Up to today and right now. Anyway, I'd rather try to meet these guys when they're younger. Dimuth Karunaratne is one person you probably were going to talk about before we go any further. Dimuth actually broke a record of my partner in crime, Ashley De Silva, and my Josephian record, opening batsman record after 29 years.
Right.
And then someone told me there's this guy called Dimuth who broke yours and Ashley's record.
Right.
I said, then I want to manage this dude.
Right.
So I signed Dimuth up when he was 18. And then I will, of course, want to know their family background. I would want to meet their parents and have 2 or 3 meetings, offer them exactly what I can tell them and do for them, and then it's game on. So yes, I will try to scout the talent, but not all talent I scout do I want to sign.
Okay.
Because if I do feel it's not going to win, or there's no sort of a zinc between the talent and me,
synergy of some sort.
A synergy of some sort,
yeah,
I'll probably skip it.
So you've actually signed Dimuth Karunaratne when he was 18.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at that point, trying to actually approach him and say, listen, let me be your manager, must be completely alien to a schoolboy.
Absolutely, absolutely. The fact that he comes from the best school in the world ever would have helped, and that
Too many bests that are actually happening. We don't usually charge individuals on the show, but I think at the end of the day, we might give you an invoice.
So yeah, the fact that I was a Josephian probably helped.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. When I spoke to Dimuth initially, I don't think he knew what the role of a manager is.
Right.
He possibly might be able to vouch about what I've done for him now, the good things and the bad things.
Right.
Today. Yeah. So at 18, you would probably meet a young dude or young boy and tell him like, this is it. You know, my first question would be, what's your goal? And if promptly the answer is not, I'm going to play for Sri Lanka, then that's definitely no for a starter.
Right.
So a lot of these guys would say, look, my goal is this. Today it's actually, it's not a motivational clause to say I'm going to play for Sri Lanka anymore, because if you're in the zone, you're going to be playing for Sri Lanka.
Right.
But it's not easy.
Right.
So you would stand by them and try to convince them that they're good enough.
Right.
I'll give you a good example. Probably when you come to that name, maybe I can talk to you. Some of them can really drop mentally. They're so good. They're top under 19 players. They're captaining under 19, and they're not getting a chance in the international side.
Right.
So they can really drop mentally.
Right.
And that's the time you can be with them and say, no, you're good enough to play for Sri Lanka.
Right.
Don't run away. Right. And let's take the challenges. Let's take the challenge. It doesn't come easy.
Right.
At the end of the day, Shaq, 7-point-something billion in the world.
Right.
11 countries play Test cricket. There are 3 sort of disciplines. Test cricket, which is the best, super supreme for me and for you and for everyone.
Yep.
There's a white ball, which is 1 day, and then the T20s.
Right.
Perhaps now the T20s are coming up.
Right.
So these boys, there are only 60, say 11 plus 5, there are 64 who could play for Sri Lanka.
Right.
Out of the 23 million we have here. So it's not easy. You got to stand by them. They've got to believe in you, and then the game starts. The ups, the downs are always there. This is natural.
Right.
But convincing a young man sometimes not very easy. But if they are and they do have the gahunas, they'll grow.
Now, in terms of, again, I keep saying that we will definitely get into the individuals. If you don't know Ravi De Silva, the individuals that he obviously has under his umbrella is pretty phenomenal, as a matter of fact. And if you've got any of the questions that you want to actually ask, remember we are live. You can always drop a message to us on the number that's appearing on the screen right now, and send it in to us, and Ravi will be more than happy to actually answer these for you. 077 669 1590, 077 669 1590. What type of aspects in the talent's life do you play a role in, and what do you stay out of?
Hockey dogs. Okay, so basically it's their welfare. I want even you right now to believe that what I do is the role of a manager.
Right.
The agency is a part of that management.
Right.
In other words, getting a deal and making sure he makes a bit of money, or getting him a contract.
Right.
The manager's role is the welfare of the talent, athlete, dancer, blogger, model, etc., etc., etc. So my main goal was to look after his or her welfare, and then ensure what happens post-retirement. Shaq, 9% of athletes, talents in the world retire like the big boys.
Right.
91% in the world, proven document statistics, retire with less than $10,000 in their bank account, and they drive a vehicle less than $5,000.
Really? Really?
Yep.
So at the time of retirement,
Yeah,
it's actually petered down, so to say.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, I don't know whether I can mention names. Mike Tyson, where is he today? Bjorn Borg, where is he today? Boris Becker, where is he today?
Right.
Right? Well, then you got the big names. We can't
Right.
mention the success stories. That's the 9%. 91% retire with less than $10,000 in their bank account.
Most of them obviously because of tax evasion issues.
Nah, not really. Simply bad management.
Bad management.
Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
he's not tax issue. Bjorn Borg, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Boris Becker, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? But all the others, Lester Piggott, maybe.
Right.
Right? But the others simply because, okay, let's say the best musician you and I like, Freddie Mercury.
Right.
What happened? Was it tax? Simply badly managed.
Right.
And he just allowed people to control his life.
Right.
We saw the film, and I mean, we knew before we saw the film what the story was all about. So it's just a very few Beyoncés in the world, a very few, it's 9%.
Right.
Who would retire with more than $10,000 or drive a car more than $5,000.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Absolutely.
Sevandi has sent a question, Ravi. It feels like every Tom, Dick and Harry now has a manager, and if you throw a stone, you'll get 10 people saying they are talent managers, and sometimes a stone also has a manager. What makes you and the talent you manage different to those so-called influencers?
Oh yeah. So influencers are a different story altogether. Let me take. There are two questions here. One is everyone's a talent manager.
That's right.
So be it. I can't stop that.
Right.
There's always good and bad. I mean, not just talent. I mean, you take everything in life. You take good anchors. Take Shaq is good. Someone else is not good.
Right.
So you can't stop that. I don't know. I don't want to speak about others because that's not my business. I would like to control my life and what I can do in my life. Perhaps there is a situation or a norm that there are other managers and everyone's a manager from someone. Mine's different because my managing is just not only managing the talent. There's so much a load, half of which I wouldn't want to tell anyone because then all my stories about what I do for a talent or a manager is gone. So why let the whole thing out? But I can only tell you something. So I have a few, say 5 or 6 top clients of mine who've been with me for anything around maybe 9 to 14 years.
Right.
Of my career as a talent manager.
Right.
So I would want that to speak for itself.
Right.
And that's it. As far as the influencers are concerned, anyone can become an influencer, Shaq.
Right.
If I say something, I might influence it.
Right.
You can say something, it can be influenced.
Right. Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of influencers as well, but that's a digital thing, right? That's very much a digital thing. You drink a Coke and not Coke, maybe. So I shouldn't talk about Coke, but you
well, you said it twice.
You just eat a popsicle and then that's digital. That's
Right.
influencing. That's not influencing.
Right.
I influence for some of the top companies in this country.
Right.
And I have some of the top guys influencing it.
Right.
I'm not going to mention names, obviously, but that's really influencing.
Right.
Right.
Let's talk about the clients that you actually have now.
Yeah.
When we're talking about it now, in terms of the cricketing world, some very big names.
Yeah.
Dimuth Karunaratne is under your wings.
Yeah.
You also have Dhananjaya De Silva under your wings.
Had a good 100 today.
Had a very good 100
and
today.
it's called Mr. Batting Artist.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Right. And congratulations to Dimuth, of course, scoring 6,000 test runs.
Yeah.
Which
with
is
a bad spine today.
Yeah, with a bad spine today.
Yeah.
You obviously also have, the thing is you got too many people there. So in terms, you also have Kamindu Mendis.
Yeah, Mr. Ambidextrous.
Yeah, you have Kamindu Mendis. Basically, is also you have Kusal Perera.
Yeah.
Who's also under your wings, and Kusal, of course, is in the news today, and has been in the last couple of days. We're going to get into that also with Ravi in just a few minutes. We'll talk about that. Who are the other cricketers that you're actually managing?
There's another gentleman who actually...
Charit Asalanka.
Yeah.
Charit Asalanka is also a budding superstar in Sri Lankan cricket at the moment.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay. He's good, yeah. And a lot of people don't know much about him. Charit was from a very remote-ish kind of school.
Right.
Before he went to a very good school.
Right.
Who has produced some fantastic cricketers over the last 10 years.
Right.
Or maybe 5 years. He went through what you call a Shishatwe.
Right.
Went to study.
Right.
And at 13 played under 15. Ended up captaining under 17 Sri Lanka, under 19 Sri Lanka, and got his first double 100 in Premier League at the age of 16.
Right.
That's Charit Asalanka. Remember the name.
Yeah. So Charit, of course, is also basically under your wings. And Charit is someone that when did you sign Charit up? Not too long ago.
6 years ago.
6 years ago?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Right.
He was 18.
Right. And you obviously molded him all the way to where he is right now.
Yeah, showing him the roadmap.
Right.
So Shaq, it's like this. I don't get involved in that cricketing life.
Right.
Because that is for the coaches to do.
Right.
Yes, I have played cricket, first class cricket. I know cricket. I played a bit of league cricket in the UK, all that. But that's not my job.
Okay.
My job is to look after their welfare.
Right.
The coaches are there for that. the legends are there for that. But and if one of the boys say want to, for example, talk to the, want to talk to someone like Mahela or Kumar, if a left-hander wants to talk to Kumar, if I can get an appointment, I'll get a meeting with Kumar and say, can you go and talk to, Kusal wants to have a chat with you. Can you fix that? But I will not, it's not my job to tell them how to play forward.
Right.
Right. Neither is it my job to tell, say, Damien, we spoke about him, how he sings on Broadway.
Right.
If it doesn't sound good,
right,
definitely in the evening I might say that didn't sound like George Benson's.
Right.
But a lot of people think there's this misconception that the manager is sort of controlling the life of the player.
Yeah, your misconception is right. We're obviously going to be getting into that also, because you made it clear that you are taking care of the welfare of the talent that you have, Ravi. Now, how do you as a talent manager start addressing gossip and fake stories in the press or social media? Do you react to it, or do you actually just let it slide?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Have you seen me reacting?
Well, no, I haven't seen you openly reacting.
No, won't. I'll manage what I can manage. What I can't manage is not my problem. Neither is it the problem of my talents.
Right.
I manage perhaps one of Sri Lanka's up-and-coming brilliant female artists.
Right. You can say it's Falan.
Yeah, it's Falan. Okay. It's Falan. Right. So, I mean, there's so much good about Falan, but then there's this rubbish still talk about Falan.
Right.
So I think I managed to convince Falan also now just to get onto that ignore mode.
Right.
And we have a good laugh about it.
Right.
She's an extremely talented musician, a wonderful personality, bubbly all the time. Actually, when I'm around her, I need to be like, drink about, I don't know what kind of thing to keep up with her.
Right.
Very talented. So, but then they will just talk about Falan. And they say this about Falan. I mean, it's a waste of time even worrying about it. You rather do the best which Falan can do, which is entertaining people. When she sings, people just listen.
Right, right.
Or they tap a toe, or they dance, or whatever.
So Falan, of course, is one of the individuals that we spoke about, the cricketers that's under your wings. Falan, of course, is, like you said, a superstar in her own making.
Yeah.
Who are the other in the music industry? You've got Damien, we mentioned, the D-Zone, you obviously manage them. Falan, who are the other?
I also represent Natasha Ratnayaka.
Natasha, okay.
Lahiru,
Lahiru, okay.
And then I have a lot of bloggers, like, say compeers. There's this very infectious lady called Sasha Karunaratne.
Sasha.
She's sweet. She's a cutie.
Right.
Then, of course, there's Miss Sri Lanka love plate, Christina.
Right.
Miss Sri Lanka, probably one of the only ones who get into the top 15 in Miss World.
Okay.
Very nice child. And then I do manage very rare talent. His name is actually Imesh Vijayagunawardena.
Okay.
Funny, again, a famous umpire's son, Thiron Vijayagunawardana's son.
Right.
Imesh is an opera singer.
Really?
Opera singer. You listen to him.
Right.
Google him, listen to him, or get on his page and listen to him. We might lose him because he's off to the US on a scholar to do a master in opera.
Right.
Very rare talent. Again, comes from the best school in the world.
Right.
And of course, I've got this gentleman who a lot of you all probably know. Sri Lanka needs to know a little bit more about him. He has just a few people who watch him on YouTube, just 1.3 billion YouTube views.
Wow.
His name is Arjun.
Arjun.
Based in the UK. He's massive.
So Arjun is your first international superstar?
Yeah, easy,
right?
Easy.
And how did you manage to rope him in? Because the reason I asked you was the fact that the work ethic that goes into managing national stars and local stars is completely different with an international star. How did that work out?
Well, to be honest, I'm learning.
Oh, right, okay.
To be honest, I'm learning. Arjun's too big. He's crazily big.
Right.
Right. Not just in Sri Lanka, as you know, or not in the UK, as you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's known in Australia. His tours of the US are like 13 states. His tours of, he was recently in South Africa, and he did Kenya and that lot.
Right.
In Europe, he's like a heartthrob.
Right.
The beauty with Arjun is that he's also very talented as a normal talent. That he can play the drums, he can play the flute, he can play the saxophone, he can play the guitar, he can sing, he writes songs. Like he can write a song while sitting in the car.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's Arjun.
Right.
So I'm learning a hell of a lot from him. a lot to do with him in Sri Lanka, but unfortunately, we had a lot planned as well.
Right.
I don't know whether I can execute all those plans this year in Sri Lanka, but just watch what we'll do with him in Sri Lanka.
Okay, some of the other stuff that we obviously want to get into, like I said, as far as questions are concerned, if you've got any, by all means, please send it across, because it's not very easy to get a hold of a talent manager who has a host of people that he has under his wings to actually have a chat with us. Some of the issues, here we go, Dinesh says, as a talent manager, if someone uses your expertise to get ahead, then decides to go with someone else, what control do you have? And if you have a legal document, how effective is it in a country like Sri Lanka? A very good question, Dinesh.
Yeah, brilliant question, Dinesh. So talent management, when you sign a document, you obviously have a contract.
Yeah.
You obviously have a contract. When you sign the contract, Dinesh, let me tell you one thing. It's like 99% on trust.
Right.
You're not going to be suing someone in Sri Lanka for sure, because our legal system, pardon me, will take about another 2,000 years to finish.
Right.
So let's not go down that road.
Right.
So there's a huge trust component.
Right.
How it works. And if you are to go legal, I don't know how it works, because I don't think there are even, there isn't even law in that area. So we sign a contract for sure, and it's good faith.
Okay.
It's a lot good faith. It's a lot good faith.
Basically, it boils down to
the
trust.
next question is, if the guy wants to move, there's obviously an escape clause on the contract. That's not a problem. But if anyone wants to leave me, they should leave me tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. Those are open for you.
Yeah.
There are lots of controversies that some of your talents, of course, have been embroiled in. Okay, which of course they've come out in, maybe legally or through PR or whatever it is. Let's talk about one controversy that Dimuth Karunaratne was actually involved in a couple of years ago in a alcohol-related event. He was arrested.
Okay.
He was out on bail.
Yeah.
And of course, that was an incident that made headlines because he was a national player.
Yeah.
You were managing him at that point.
Correct.
What did you do as a talent manager when this came about?
Okay. So, firstly, I think it's important to know, Shaq, that all talents are freaks.
Freaks?
Yeah, they are freaks.
Right.
Right? I don't think many can probably face Brett Lee at 151. Okay, so they have to be freaks. I don't think many can actually get 158 on the fourth test innings.
Right.
Facing Dale Steyn and hammering him over mid-wicket for nothing. I don't think this 19-year-old boy can come from the village in Galle and just get an 85 against Bangladesh and win us a game in a World Cup. I don't think there's many who can come and bowl with two hands.
Right.
I don't think there is anyone in the world who has 1.3 billion YouTube views. Not many. So they're freaks.
Right.
Freaks are entitled, indirectly or directly, to do crazy things.
Right.
Right. I found out the other day that Emma Raducanu had not even practiced for 8 months before she won the US Open.
Right.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
Right. Shoaib Akhtar does freaky things. Right. Sachin Tendulkar practices 22 hours of the 24. That's freaky. Right. I don't think many do that. We have had top Sri Lankan cricketers. The best, I think you know whom I'm talking, the best ever right-hand batsman we had. You would see him at nightclubs at 5 in the morning and get 100.
Right.
So was the greatest we ever produced, the Mr. Satas even.
Right.
There are a lot of stories about it. So they will do these freakish things. Coming back to DK. Firstly, DK was a teetotaler.
Okay.
Right. So he was somehow lured to stop by at the Love Bar and have a little break with some of his friends.
Right.
He ended up having a little cocktail. Horton Place meeting Kingsley Road. This Trisha comes, bangs into him.
Trisha bangs into him?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay.
3:45 in the morning. By the way, my phone's on 24/7 for my talents, right? My phone rings at 3:45 in the morning. He says, "Aya," I can speak in Sinhalese.
Yeah.
Right? "Aya, problem. I've knocked someone." I said, "Okay, hang in. What's the story?" Like And then, is the guy injured? He says, "No, he's not injured. But the car is the Trisha is." I said, "Okay, I'll be there in 10," and I'm there in 10 minutes. We make sure we call 911. Not sorry, the police, not 911. Sorry, the police.
Where were you, Ravi? In a phase? Where were you?
The police, right?
Right.
And then we report that it's DK.
Right.
DK's friend was on the other side, and I go, no way, you have to say you drove, right? And the cops are telling me, Dimuth
They were saying that.
They were saying that.
Right.
I said, nah, and DK was just 0.8 above the alcohol limit.
Right.
How many people know that? Just one guy carried it in the paper.
Right.
Right? I'm not going to mention the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sent the gentleman to the general hospital. I drove DK to the police station. We said this happened. We went to courts the next day. We accepted our guilt. We said we will look after the gentleman, whatever medication. I went to Bajaj, Talawatugoda.
Yeah.
I convinced Dimuth that he's got to buy him a new trishaw. I took the check for 837,430 rupees, bought him a new bike,
New trishaw.
a new trishaw, gave it to him, and that was the end of that. We apologized. At the 80 Club, having lunch that afternoon, I dictated the letter for the email, fax for the Facebook for DK, sent it viral, apologized to all,
Right.
his class, his school, his teammates, Sri Lanka, and the cricket world at large.
Right.
He learnt a lesson.
Right.
What had to be done was what had to be done. And then while going back home, that was my personal chat with him about not doing it again.
Right.
And not as good, not as easy as that.
Yeah.
You probably know the language I would use.
Yeah.
And since then, I can't get him to I don't drink, that's a different story, but I can't get him to drink a red wine.
Right.
So that's it. So he learns off that.
Right.
He's not going to make that mistake again for sure. Not even in Yorkshire.
Right.
Because I had Darren Goff calling me and said, this guy doesn't drink.
Right.
When he was playing for Yorkshire. So I said, yeah, Darrell, he's got his own thing. So that's the way it works. So they can make mistakes. All I want everyone to know is talents are exceptional human beings. There are very few in the world.
Right.
Right? And they can do things differently, what other people can't do. I can't do what they can do.
Right.
Neither can you, Shaq.
Yeah.
But I can't do your job.
Right.
Because that's why you're a talent in your area.
Right.
So we've got to accept that. In the meantime, while doing all this, they are susceptible.
Right.
They have to make mistakes in life.
That's true.
But they can't repeat the same mistake.
Right. Because of who they are.
Because of who they are.
Right.
Right. So they just cannot do that. And they're role models. Perhaps you and I can go to a supermarket in shorts, just a cap, loose t-shirt and a pair of rubbers. They can't.
Right.
They can't really do that.
Right.
Although I encourage him to do that.
Right.
And be normal. I've seen the greatest ever left-arm batsman who has 53 average in supermarkets like that.
Yeah.
They've got to live their life. But they are not Jesus Christ or Lord Buddha or Allah who doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
But they can't make the same mistake.
Now, are you required to pull any strings to get your talent out of problems, Ravi? Or are you required to do that under the talent management of what you're basically holding on to?
Okay, so the World Cricket Body docked KJP for doping.
Yeah.
Right? I got some expert opinion, and one of the experts.
Tell us that story.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
The doping story.
The doping story.
Okay.
I don't think lots of people know it
not many
because
know.
it was a long, drawn-out case.
Yeah.
Like what's going on right now with KJP, which we'll also get into.
Yeah. Okay, so KJ was docked in New Zealand for doping.
Right.
A banned substance called 19A nondosterone. Pardon my my pronunciation, if that's correct. He was on a flight to Colombo, and the beauty is as soon as they are docked, everyone washes their hands off these talents. No one's there. No one's even there to pick them up, other than his original coach, Chula Kamarasinghe, and I, who went and picked him up and took him back home. Then I had a meeting with some very eminent medical personnel and the top lawyers, as you would know naturally, and they had chats with them. I had personal chats with KJ where he said, Ravi, I didn't do this. We fought. Like God gave me, Tilanga became the president of Sri Lanka Cricket. Tilanga and I played our first ever cricket match for CCC.
Right.
Our daily news match. So we had a friendship, maybe an acquaintance, not a friendship, because we respect each other, that's it. Tilanga bought my word. He decided to support KJP.
Right.
They advanced 21.7 million rupees and gave me the entire mantle to go ahead and fight the battle. With Sri Lanka's blessings and support, Sri Lanka cricket as well. I mean, that's what I have to say. We went to the UK. They didn't trust us, obviously, black guys, until they realized that I lived in the UK and they knew a little bit about me. Went over to France, and we finally proved that the lab in Doha, which did the sampling, had made a qualitative versus quantitative mistake.
Wow.
In other words, in your sperm, in your urine, you can have X amount of 19A, which comes automatically inside your system. And they reported a quantitative. They said, okay, they had this in the body, they docked the boy. No one knows that that lab was banned by WADA for 6 months because of Sri Lanka cricket and WADA and KJP's case. We won the case. Of course, I do have an NDA. I can't talk any further on the matter, me, KJ. But KJ was left to play. Kudos to Sri Lanka cricket. There's a wonderful YouTube recording of the whole story. I think that was the first time ever I was invited to a Sri Lanka cricket press conference. And I explained the story. But thanks to Sri Lanka cricket, I mean, that happened. They believe. So I think it's important that you believe in players. The man who really wanted me to believe that Kusal didn't do it, but two people. One man was Professor Arjun De Silva in my home, our neighborhood, where he turned around and said, this boy has not done this. He had he wanted to talk to KJ for 2 minutes, and he said, is there any way I can talk? I said, go to my room. I said, how can I take him to your own room? I said, no, you go and have a chat with him. He came out and said, Ravi, this boy has not done this. And KJ himself said, look, why are you looking at me? I'm not a cheater. I had to trust him. So you trust, and then you go with that. Shaq, they can, if they really want to, send you up the gum tree. KJ could have actually done it. He could have actually done it. But I had to trust him. And that bond is no contract, which the previous boy, I think Dinesh asked, is going to. I mean, today I'll work with KJ without a contract. I do have a contract for sure, but I'll work without a contract. Because that is the bond you build, So it's about the real faith you have between the player and then the trust. You have to learn to trust the boy. So even if the boy or girl does the wrong thing, you stand by that guy. What do you have with them? But I spoke with DK after everything was sorted out. Only DK and I know. There's no. I mean, I can't put it out.
There's no requirement.
There's no requirement. So, job done. Accept the mistake, and you are permitted to make a mistake as a talent. If you don't, you're not a talent.
KJ is basically back in the headlines again. We're going to get into that one. Marlon has a question. Some of the talent you manage have also been in the news for breaking laws or international cricket tours while on duty and have been sent home. Last SLC Bangladesh tour is one example. How do you manage that aspect in the professional?
100%. Marlon, whoever this Marlon is. So that's what I'm saying. You cannot send the boys up the gum tree as well. If they have done the wrong thing, we're not going to talk about names here, but I know whom he's talking about. You know whom he's talking about. So the boy did the wrong thing. Okay? What did he do wrong? There's proof to say that there was a particular person who entered his room for 8 minutes. Documentary CCTV proof. Went out, but the rule was broken. Came back, he was not deported, but he was sent back to Colombo. I stood by the boy. We apologized. He's now doing counseling with eminent Sri Lankan medical practitioner. He's doing his religious work in his village. We apologize. He got a ban for 1 year. So be it. You learn. You can't do that again. So then in that case, if I could have controlled all this, or if I had links, we could have waved it off. No?
What happens, Ravi, for example, if they do repeat? What will you do? Now, for example, let's talk about DK. If something similar like what happened to DK happened again, what will you do? Will you wash your hands off?
He's got to read his contract.
Okay.
He's got to read his contract.
I wish I can read his contract. I would get the answer myself in that case. But the other question.
Bottom line. You can't do it again.
You can't do it again.
I don't need it.
Right, right. So let's talk about the controversy which is on right now with Kusal Perera, which is, of course, I think some of the politicians also have actually got involved in it. Sri Lanka cricket has got involved in it. It's a lot of he says, she says thing that's actually going on. I think this this document actually was out in the media today, which is basically indicating a press release from Sri Lanka cricket, which is requesting X number of players on the list there to be included in the LPL. Now, what is the current situation with the surgery?
Which one is this, Shaq? This one is...
This is the one that was actually released today, Ravi.
when is it dated?
Hang on a minute.
The release itself is...
no, it's the release.
You're talking about last year's LPL.
That's
that
right.
one.
That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
So this was released last year in November, right?
Yeah, but this came out today in terms of as far as the news conference is concerned. It was released on the 12th of November. 2021.
Okay, I think this is when originally they were not selected. And
that's right, and
okay.
which gives a list of names: Angela Matthews, Dinesh Chandimal, Kusal Perera, Dhananjaya De Silva, Akila Dhananjaya, and the list goes on. Which is requesting them to actually get them included in a franchise. Now, firstly, before you find out exactly the situation with the surgery, how is Kusal at the moment? What is his situation?
Yeah, he's. You all know, right, that he played with an injury,
right?
And that's not an open. That's an open secret. I mean, everyone knows that. We also know that during the World Cup, he played under a lot of pain, which actually really aggravated on that famous UK tour.
Right.
And then it went on and on and on and on and on. He's under rehab. And I think he ended his rehab on the 29th of April.
Okay.
Because the medical fraternity who looked after him said that you can't, any injury you can't do too much of rehab, right? They're going to bust it up.
Right.
There's a problem where he can't raise his hand above this amount, and there's a lot of pain there.
Right.
So they then, that was like the stopping of the rehab on 29 April was a sort of a precursor. For him to get under the knife,
right?
Because he was then told that he's got to get under the knife,
right?
That was in May,
right?
And so that's where it stands.
So,
he's got to do this surgery.
So where do we stand right now with the surgery? So is it under his contract as with Sri Lanka Cricket that it has to be if there's any health conditions or surgery, it's been funded by Sri Lanka Cricket? How does that work?
Well,
are you in a position to talk about something like that?
No. Basically, Shaq, I think what's happened now is that they've identified whom they want to do the surgery with.
Right.
And he's got to go. Simple as that.
Right.
So right now there was a little bit of communication which took place, and I suggested to Kusal and that he has a chat with Shammi,
right,
the president of Sri Lanka Cricket, and I'm sure they can sort out and come. I think there's a lot of hot air blowing on this whole thing, Shaq.
Of course.
Right? Because I don't see a problem, honestly.
Right.
And even if there's a problem, it can be easily sorted over just a cup of coffee or tea.
Right. So you're trying to say that this whole thing has been blown out of proportion?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because what you showed me just now,
right,
and if you try to, it's very ambiguous. That letter I just saw 2 minutes ago.
Right.
It's very ambiguous with what, when, where, who, he said, she said, me said.
Exactly.
Nonsense.
Right.
I just said, go have a chat with Shammi one-on-one. Because me, funny, Shaq, Sri Lankan player managers have absolute no jurisdiction to talk to Sri Lanka cricket. My personal relation...
Very good that you pointed that out, because that was going to be my next question for you, but please carry on.
No jurisdiction at all.
Right.
Shami Silva, my club, that's a different story.
Right.
Good friend, that's a different story. Ashley De Silva, my partner in crime from under 12, that's a different story. I cannot talk to them. There's no link.
Right.
You can ask anyone when I last visited Sri Lanka cricket. They might say, I will Dimuth Karunaratne but I don't go. So I have to respect their positions. I was the chairman of Sri Lanka tournaments for 3 tenures under Arjun, Siddharth, and I think Jayant Dharamdas.
Right.
So I know how it works.
Right.
I'm not going to go down that road.
Right.
So that is between the player and Sri Lanka cricket.
What is the influence a cricket manager or a talent manager has to get individuals in the team?
Zinj.
Nothing.
Shall I give you a good example? Kamindu Mendes got a 50 on his debut.
Right.
Where is he today?
Right.
So if I'm this so-called big manager,
Right.
he should be playing Test cricket again. I mean, after 50 he didn't play, but the balance was such or whatever. So let him wait. His time.
Right.
Let him when he gets the next opportunity, let him perform. Charita Salanka.
So this whole misconception of supposedly...
I don't think any manager can do it. Honestly.
I'm just asking you, exactly.
I honestly don't believe. I don't like to speak about other managers.
Right.
But I honestly don't believe that the other managers do it as well.
Right. Right.
Because I'm sure, in fairness to those boys, and I don't know whether there are any girls in management, ladies, I don't think they do it.
Right.
Right. So I think that topic should stop, and this notion of these managers is controlling.
That is what I want to get at, Ravi, because the thing is this, I mean, okay, you are managing a fair amount of national players of a game that this country absolutely loves, right? Plus you do have other managers who are managing 1 or 2 players or 3 players.
Actually, they manage more than, the other managers definitely manage more than me.
Right,
because I can't chew more than what I can chew.
Okay.
So I've got, 3 of the seniors, 3 of the middle likes, like the Asalankas, the Kamindus, and the Kamil Misharas, and then the juniors.
Right.
So I just manage only a few.
So the misconception out there in the public eye is the fact that the stronger you are in terms of a manager, the more influence that you have in getting your players in the team.
It happened to another gentleman who was in management before me.
Right.
Poor guy, he managed the best cricketer Sri Lanka ever produced in the last 20 years.
Right.
And it was like as if he was doing things. No, it was not.
Right.
No one can control that.
Right.
And this is not like, we don't even have anything to do with Sri Lanka cricket. In other countries, the managers handle their contracts with the board.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't even do that. We don't go down that road.
So where were you when there was this contract issue that was going on with Sri Lanka cricket and the players a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Because some of your players were also involved in the contract issue.
Yeah.
So if you say that you don't handle their cricket or their contract with the board, where were you in order to actually give them the advice in terms of contract, or can you do that?
No, there's no way we can do it.
You can't do that.
There's no way we can do it. Will not be even entertained.
Right.
And hitherto, I know for sure that all contracts have got to a particular point and it had stopped with the CEO and the cricketers and was sorted out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, good, bad or ugly, something happened last year.
Right.
No, I'm telling you with conviction, no man, not just me, no manager.
Right.
If by any chance you happen to be the manager of the test team, Dimuth Karunaratne, and the manager of the one-day captain Kusal Perera, that doesn't mean that I can control. There was this big joke. I remember my dear friend on another program asking me that I'm the man in Sri Lankan cricket.
Right.
I'll give you a good example. Now, a guy comes in his test debut, gets a 50. And he's dropped for the next 2 matches. But that's what the team needs.
I just read an article just before we started the show. Somebody actually called you a senior citizen. This is again on that Kusal Janit story that we're talking about. Ravi De Silva was a senior citizen.
A senior citizen, all right. So I'm going to challenge that gentleman to come run 5 miles with me.
Right.
And I don't know who's elder, he or me.
Right.
But I bet my bottom dollar I'll keep a mile away from him at the end of the 5 miles.
Senior citizen, huh? That's a senior citizen.
That's a good one, actually. That's a good one. That's a good one. I enjoy the banter, the little bit of aji-baji.
Right.
But a lot of these aji-baji can be sorted out over a cup of coffee. For me, it's coffee. For the others, it'll be beer because I'm a teetotaler.
Right.
So, it goes like that. But, Shaq, you just control what you can control. Don't go to control what you can't control and play the protocol.
Okay. What is the most difficult thing about managing talent? Is it the attitude? Is it their ego? Or is it their unresponsiveness? You call them freaks, right? So one of the most difficult thing is actually to manage talent.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is the same.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So what is the most difficult thing?
You just need to empathize. You just need to empathize with them. Simple as that. And how I handle Falan Andrea is different from how I'll handle Arjun.
Right.
How I'll handle Arjun is different from how I'll handle Charita Salanka.
Right.
How I'll handle KJP is different from how I'll handle Mr. Cool, Dhananjaya.
Right.
Because he never even gets angry. You need to try to get into, the real meaning of empathy, right? Get into their shoes.
Right.
But the main thing is, Shaq, you cannot change who they are.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not there to change them either.
Exactly.
Right.
You go with the flow, but you can explain and show them the goods and the bads about doing this.
Right.
Now, I have a norm saying if you don't indulge 8 hours a day in your cricket, i.e. practice, gym, swim, meditate, weightlift, field, keep, bowl, you'll never play for Sri Lanka.
Right.
That's just a token, a saying from me.
Right.
Whether KJP wants to do 8 hours, honestly, I don't believe he'll do it. Aravinda didn't do it.
Yeah.
But he was better than everyone.
That's true.
Right? But Roshi, Maha would have worked very hard.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, take Mahela and Kumar.
Yeah, complete opposites. Complete opposites.
Kumar, if you saw him, he's batting.
Yeah.
He got a 250 and come and he's batting again.
Right.
So I can mention millions of names.
Right.
So it's different. They're all different from each other.
Right.
So you need to just show them the way, be with them, stand by them, of course.
Right.
Don't allow them to make the same mistake twice. And egos, they have to have egos.
Yeah.
If they don't have egos, they can't be who they are.
Right.
Donald Trump wouldn't have been who he is.
Right.
Right? So they need to have that. I mean, that's a part. The characters, the Shane Warnes, the Bothans, the Shoaibs. Then you get the Tendulkars, you get the Mahelas who are more docile and decent.
Right.
But
Decent.
no. I mean, if you take, you know what I'm trying to tell you, right?
Very calm.
Yeah, very
some
calm.
Some are out and about,
yeah.
some are very calm.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you get Richie McCaw, you don't get 2 words from him.
Yeah.
Right? But he's a warrior.
Right.
So that's how it goes. I mean, you get Messi, he doesn't even talk.
Yeah.
But he just dribble past you and scores 3 goals, you won't even know what has hit you.
I don't know if we can actually put this question up, but this is a question that I received from Anika. If you could manage any famous person in the world, who would it be and why?
Is Anika a talent?
I don't know. I don't know. If you could manage any famous person in the world, who would it be and why?
What a wonderful question. Right, who and why? I wish I could have ever managed Freddie Mercury.
Right.
If he's a musician.
You're talking about freaks, that's a different level.
Yeah, that's like, I would have spent 37 hours of the day to look after a person like Freddie Mercury. Let's take it sector by sector. Cricket. So it has to be ex or current.
It doesn't matter. It says if there's one person, if you could manage any famous person in the world, who would it be? Okay, let's just talk about cricket.
Yeah.
If there's one cricketer out there who you would like to manage, who would it be?
Ravi De Silva.
Ravi De Silva.
The talent.
Yeah.
Enormous. And I would have learned more, naturally. Virat Kohli, for sure.
Right.
How about someone like Ian Botham? How much I would have learned trying to juggle life with a person like him.
Right.
Because he was no easy man, and I just would love to meet his manager someday, Botham's manager.
Right.
I had a chat actually with Sir Garfield Sobers' manager, his agent actually, when he was in Colombo once. I have a nice photograph of him and KJ.
Right.
We met him at the Taj. I picked his brain. So I'll go for someone like Arvind, Virat Kohli, and what about King Viv? Imagine managing imagine managing King Viv. I think that's it. And then there are these 2 brilliant rugby union players.
Right.
One guy is called Anton Dupont,
right,
from France, and the other guy is Romain Intermarc, the current French scrum half and standoff. Watch out for 2023. These 2 boys played under-19 rugby for France, and Le Bleu, that's my famous rugby union team. They'll be in the 2023 World Cup in France.
Okay, all right. We got just one more question to go, Ravi. I can't even believe that we're almost done with an hour of the show. But before we go, we'd like to play a little game with you.
Okay.
Right? And of course, we'll find out how well you obviously know
I'm
your
going to
talent.
lose this.
I don't know. This is going to be a fun one, actually. So let's have the first one up. And we've got 5 of the talent that you manage.
Oh, sure.
Right? Okay. On screen right now. And in a level of difficulty, right? We want you to basically put this together.
Okay.
So you're Kusal Perera, Dimuth Karunaratne, Falan Andrea, Arjun, and Sasha.
Yeah.
From least to the most difficult.
Yeah.
Who is the easiest to get through on the phone?
Oh, wow. Jesus
Right?
Christ.
From the least. Okay, let's start off with the easiest person to get through on the phone in an emergency. Out of the
You're not going to
five,
believe this, mate.
who is it?
DK.
DK is the easiest to get.
Easiest.
Right.
Easiest.
All right.
He'll be back with you if he doesn't. If he doesn't answer, Ravi, call kara de.
Right.
He'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next easiest.
KJ.
KJ.
Oh, hang on. That's a tough one. Bloody hell. There's Arjun will even call me back from the UK. But I think you should break it in Sri Lanka. No, that won't
No,
work.
no, can't do that.
Oh shoot. This is like tough. Sasha is busy all the time. She's like the busiest out of this whole lot because she does different segments of
So
work. Sasha
is,
will probably respond to me late in the evening.
so she's the most difficult to get through.
No. She's at shows right through the day.
Right.
She's blogging in the morning. She's TikToking during the day. So I think I need to keep. But she would respond within the day for sure.
Stop being diplomatic, Ravi.
KJ will call me back because Falan's too busy as well.
Okay. So it'll be Dimuth,
KJ, Falan. Arjun will call me definitely.
Arjun?
Yeah.
Falan?
Then we go to Sasha.
And Sasha.
Yeah.
So basically the most difficult person to get through.
I think it also depends on how busy they are. For example, these two boys will be busy only on a particular day. Now, for example, I have a program with Dimuth on Saturday. I have some measurements I got to give.
Right.
And they have to wait till night for me to speak to him.
Right.
So like that. So that moves there.
Okay, so there you go. So those are the five that we actually have. Now here's another one that we actually have for you. Let's figure out how well you know your talent.
Oh shit, that's for sure. I'm going to lose this one.
Let's figure out how well you know your talent. Okay. So here is the first picture that we have for you. Who is this?
Oh shit. Charita Asalanka.
Charita Asalanka?
Yeah.
Charita Asalanka. Not bad.
That's my boy.
All right. Okay. Here's the next one.
Sasha.
Sasha.
Bloody Falan or Sasha?
Falan or Sasha?
Okay, I'll go for Falan.
Falan. Okay.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Christina was not on the originally.
What do you mean?
Okay. So you're not even showing me the picture.
I'm
now.
not.
She was not on my wavelength. I was thinking of those five.
These are your talent, right?
Okay. Yeah. She'll kill me. But she was not on the five.
So that's different. That's a separate five there.
Love play. She's a darling.
Right.
Yeah,
So Christina. Okay. Here's the next one.
Ooh la la la. Damien. That's Dema, yeah. That's Dema.
All right, here's the next one for you. How well do you know your talent?
Ooh, shush. You take it on the side? Oh, shit.
Come on, Ravi, we don't have all day.
La. Kamidu? No. Kamidu?
Kamindu? Dhananjaya De Silva. He's not going to forgive you for this.
He'll kill me. I wished him and blessed him for his 100 today.
All right, this is your last one. The last one.
Is it nuts?
How well do you know your talent? Come on, give us a name.
Jeez, man, this looks like a foreigner. I don't know. Other than Arjun, I don't know anyone else. Tough.
Yes, no.
I'll pass.
You pass?
Seriously,
Okay,
yeah.
Pass. All right.
Yevan
David.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Well,
But that looks like he's like a sort of a European picture. Lovely guy. You'll hear a lot about him.
Right.
Yeah, he's probably one of the boys. Young man, just turned 15 last week.
Right.
And he drives in the circuit in Europe.
Right.
Lives in Singapore. Based in Singapore, lives in Italy,
right,
and does the EU circuit.
Also making a fair amount of headlines
big boy.
in the
Good boy.
motor racing
Yeah.
Industry. Let me see what else we actually have. We are almost done with the show. I think we're about to basically get in. I mean, an hour passed by, Ravi, and some fantastic stuff that we obviously had to talk about on the show. But let's now run into the answer to the poll that we actually had, which we gave out earlier on during the show. show. Do talent managers truly add value to the talent? You've heard Ravi talk about what talent managers do or what he does as a talent manager. Yes or no, everybody watching us on Channel 1 Dialogue TV, and of course everyone on social media on our product platforms. WhatsApp your answer to 077 669 1590, and here is the final tally for you of this particular poll. 80% say talent managers do add value to the talents.
That's nice to know.
That's nice to know, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, for a guy who's in the commercial business for 40 years and then moved to look after talent, thank you.
80%. 80% say talent managers, of course, do add value to their talent. Well, Ravi, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure on the show.
Bro. No worries.
And so much we obviously got out of you. Lots of stuff that we cleared. There was so much misconception that was going on. Like you said, I like the word argy-bargy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of argy-bargy, and of course, lots of
doesn't go
stories.
anywhere, does it?
It doesn't.
All it needs is a cup of coffee.
Wonderful. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of the show. We are done for tonight. We have one more show for this week, and we're going to be there tomorrow night, 10 p.m., right here, coming to you live on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and our PodHub platforms. Till tomorrow night, have yourself a wonderful night. Good night.